What is up, guys? And today I am going to be showing you 2020 UA deck profile. It's October 17th, and with the new support that just came out through Phantom Rage, I was really excited to get the cards right away since I've always been running UAs for the longest time. So let's get right to it. Instead of 3 midfielders, I'm only running one in this set, basically because of this next guy, which is I believe is a big upgrade from UA midfielder Libero Spiker. His effect is so good, allows you to basically do a rotation. You send this guy back to your hand, you send the UA from your hand back into the deck, and you special summon one straight from the deck, which I think is really broken, and that's what makes this deck really good now. Uh, I keep the two Mighty Slugger. Basically, our mateys effect is you can activate something while you're attacking. I know a lot of players tend to miss that opportunity that they see. You can activate quick plays. You can activate trap cards, and your opponent, if they have anything to get with, they can't respond while you're attacking with Mighty Slugger. Uh, Running double perfect ace, it's way more effective now, basically because you can bring them out with Liberal Spiker anytime you complete negation, and having two I think is still really effective. So he's it's a really good 5-star monster to keep in the deck. Still reliable. Rival Rebounder. I think this card basically had a big boost of potential. Basically, because with Libero Spiker, you can bring this guy out and use his effect. If you have a UA monster in your graveyard, you use Libero Spiker's effect. His effect activates when he reaches the field on your opponent's turn, and you can bring back a UA from your graveyard or special summon one from the hand, which makes Rival Rebounder still really good. Goalkeeper, I know this is probably the least effective UA in the deck. I mean, he does have a good effect during your opponent's turn. Target one monster you control, and he can't be destroyed by battle card effects once during your opponent's turn. However, he can be used as bait for basically as a tool for Libero Spiker. You can keep this guy in your hand if you're going to add him in your hand and special summon the other UA, because Libero Spiker's effect requires you to special summon a different UA than the one you're sending back from your hand into the deck. UA Blockbacker. For a while, I did stop running UAs because when Link Monsters came out, this guy does not work against Link Monsters. Because the battle position does have to change of the opponent's monsters, and since you can't change the battle position of Link monsters, this guy's effect wouldn't work. However, he's still really effective. He's still a really effective monster to bring out. Basically, if you're gonna have Perfect Ace, you can have this guy out as well, and he still makes your deck pretty solid if you have at least one in the deck. Dreadnought Dunker, basically the Piercer and Destroyer. He does piercing damage. You pop a card on the field. Still a really good card. He can one hit KO if you go second. I remember the days where people would basically Burning Abyss or even the Pendulums play defense monster, and you summon this guy, Power Jersey, and one hit KO. Still really good. And the most powerful monster that I think we got, and within the UAs, UA Player Manager, you special summon him. He's real easy to bring out. All you need to do is a normal summon or special summon a UA during your turn, during your opponent's turn, and you get to bring this guy out from your hand. And his effect, you can either negate all your opponent's monster's effects for the end of the turn, or you can pop one card that your opponent controls, which is by far makes this the most powerful card in the deck. And for my final monster, one Ash Blossom. Basically, opponent tries to add. I don't want to clog up the deck by running three, so just having one is good enough for me. This card is now playable. It used to not be because it was really hard to bring out two UAs. UA Turnover Tactics. Shuffle two UAs from the field into your deck, and then you shuffle all your monsters your opponent controls from the field into their deck. And if they summon from the extra deck, they don't get to summon any monsters because it didn't go back into the main deck, making this card really worth playing now. triple UA signing deal. Still a really good card. Was still a really good card back then when this card first came out. I remember how effective it was. Basically, if you were trying to get to midfielder, how critical it was to either open up with this or with midfielder, because the lack of 4-star monsters to get, you would really depend on either drawing signing deal or midfielder on your opening hand. Uh, Another new card, UA Hyper Stadium, basically gives you another normal summon during your turn if you have UA Stadium in your hand. And I'm going to show you how I get UA Stadium to my hand a lot easier now with this new support. And also, Hyper Stadium allows you, basically has the stadium's first effect, which is get a UA monster from your deck straight to your hand. So doing this can automatically get your Libero Spiker, get midfielder straight to your hand, which makes this card really good actually. And I used to run 2 of this, but I'm only running 1 Power Jersey now. Power Jersey was a really good card. It still is really good. I mean, but I think just running 2 is makes the deck can make the deck inconsistent. Now it's because there's easier ways to get UA cards to your hand. Now I think only 1 is necessary. And as for the 3 stadiums, still really good. You could basically Foolish Burial Goods, penalty box, get this to your hand. Use Hyper Stadium as well. You can do one or the other, Hyper Stadium, UA Stadium. You'll be able to do 2 normal summons during your turn. 1 Rhoda, Libero Spiker, midfielder. And you always want to keep Rhoda in your deck. Oops, I dropped that card. I'll pick it up in a bit. Okay. 1 Called by the Grave. I don't believe this card should have been hit. Unfortunately, it was, but I think having the 1 Called by the Grave, because you know you want to summon from basically Ash Blossom hits pretty much all the capabilities of this deck. So 1 Called by the Grave is still pretty critical. The terraforming, you know why? UA Stadium, UA Hyper Stadium. You need terraforming in the deck. Make your deck more consistent. 3 Foolish Burial Goods. You want to run 3 basically for penalty box. You can get Signing Deal, you can get Power Jersey, you can get Stadium, any UA spell card from your deck to your hand once you pitch penalty box to the graveyard. And now Harpy's Feather Duster, Dust Tornado. Basically back row Twin Twister. You can pitch a penalty box, get penalty box effect. That's why I run Twin Twister instead of Galaxy Cyclone. And Twin Twister pops 2 from your opponent's side. I've used it in cases to pop to set penalty box and pop it on my side in critical situations. But that's to pop the opponent's back row. Triple Pot of Extravagance. Because UA hardly relies on the extra deck, you want to have the 3 Pot of Extravagance, have a +1, and banish the 6, because you don't really depend on extra deck that much. Pot of Extravagance is a must. As for the trap cards, 1 Infinite Impermanence, basically a hand trap, a normal trap card. Just really good card, really good trap card, and I think it is worth the price that it currently stands at. And the final trap card is UA Penalty Box. I run 3 of them. You do need to run 3 to play Foolish Burial Goods, basically to add your UAs to your hand. And that's basically it for the main deck. I don't have a side deck in this one because I haven't prepared it, or I haven't gotten the cards for it. But for my extra deck, I'm not really going to depend on it, and I didn't really go deep into setting up the extra deck, but I'm going to go ahead and go over it. Decode Talker, basically a good beat stick if to overpower your opponent's monster. I don't think it's going to be necessary. Most of these are basically for Pot of Extravagance. Skull Dread is pretty good, is actually basically, you know, you want to special summon. I mean, basically in critical situations, you might find yourself needing an effect like this. Mrs. Radiant, this would probably be the only link monster I would probably run because of its really good effect. Boost the earth monsters by 500 attack, which is would work for any UA monster. Um, Underclock Tower, Underclock Taker. Basically, if you wanna, if you wanna use Power Jersey, reduce the attack of one of your opponent's monster, you could probably steal a one-hit kill, sneak one in there, and catch your opponent by surprise. Uh, Red Eyes Darkness Metal Dragon. I've used this card in the past. It has worked really well. Basically, if you drop your opponent's life points down to less than 2,000, leaving your opponent with not many moves left, this can be really good when you pretty much have your opponent by the ropes. Tornado Dragon, you can pop any spell or trap on the field. You can do it to penalty box. Of course, yeah, I mean, get in 2 4 stars and using them. I don't see myself likely using it. Basically, most of these XYZs are going to be basically for, I guess, just for final kills or to take out, special summon monsters your opponent controls. Silent Honor Arc, Heartland Draco can be a last hit kill as well by attacking your opponent directly. Castell, it can be very effective actually, um, if your opponent controls any card that stops your play or doesn't let you do anything, Castell can be very helpful. Volcasaurus can be a game ender also if you have your opponent by the ropes. Volcasaurus, 2,000, 3,000 monster your opponent controls, you can just end the duel with it. You always run a lot of 5-star monsters. Just like Cowboy can end the game as well, 800. You always want to run Cowboy in the deck, just like back then in the Hat, Fire Fist, back basically 2013 all over again. You want to be able to nuke the field if you're in a desperate situation. Exodon can be very helpful. Excalibur, Beat Stick, 2 4 stars. And this would be another one that I would use for piercing damage, which would be Thunder Charger. Basically, Blockbacker and Blockbacker and Dunker. Of course, Dunker does piercing damage, but this one you can use a rank 5. You can use Volcasaurus effect, then go into this guy, basically to kill your opponent if you have them at the brink of their life points. So basically, that's it for my deck profile. If you have any questions, please leave in the comments below, and I'll try to answer as soon as I can. Thank you all.